fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today to share with you a finish. So I'm super excited. This is not, unfortunately, a finish for the flower diamond paint along, but it is a finish. So as you can see here, I've got all my leftover drills. I didn't run out of anything. I had plenty to finish. I think I had 4 ABs in this kit, and I have extras of all of them. So I will probably be saving those to use in another project. That's not an AB. So I had 3 ABs. There's one and there's one. Anyway, so I had plenty of drills to finish everything. I didn't run out of anything. And this one turned out super cute. So I'm excited to share with you which kit it is. But first, let me show you my trash. So this isn't a huge kit. It's roughly 50 by 50-ish, I think. This was a round kit, as you can see, so I had some drills that had tabs on them, some broken ones, some malformed ones, but other than that, not a huge amount of trash, so happy about that. I did also, for this kit, have to buy an eyeshadow palette to cover up my red lines, and I got one that kind of matched the colors of the kit. I actually only ended up using the white, as you can see, in this kind of teal color. I didn't need it for the rest of the kit. Before we look at the kit, I do have some pieces to show you of what the red lines look like after I put the drills on. So I'll show you that first so you can see what the red lines look like, and then I will show you what it looks like after I've applied the fix. I've got some of me actually doing the fix, and then I'll show you at the end what it looks like after I've applied all the fix that I want. Let's dive in. As you guys can see, I'm not quite done with this yet. I've got 2 sections left, but I wanted to show you this before I finished everything because I think it's easier to explain before I cover everything up with the drills. Some of the drills, I don't know if you can see down here, I can see the paint coming through, so that's something I'm going to need to address. Most of the stuff that's in these dark colors, I think is covered up enough. I don't need to worry about it. But what I've noticed is it depends on where your lines are. So if you can see right here, these dotted lines are lined up with where the symbols are. So basically my drill's going to cover up most of the pink. Even in the light colors, that's going to get covered up. And you see this line going across here is basically lined up with where the drills are going to go as well. And you can see a little bit over here. Let me zoom in. You can see when you get up close, you can see a little bit of the pink behind it, but it's not as noticeable as it is in other places. So for instance, you can see right up here in the white, it didn't line up. It's almost kind of in the middle of the drills. So it's very noticeable, so I'll need to cover that up. But it's also in a white section. So over here, where you can see this little bit of a line, or I can see it anyway, I don't know how much I need to worry about covering that up. This line right here, you can see it kind of goes through and underneath. I'm going to cover up some of it, but like in this, there's a line right here. So in this kind of light blue section, you can see it, but in all the rest of it, where all these dark colors are, you really can't. Let me zoom out so you can see, or I at least can see the pink right here. So I think I need to cover that up, but all the rest of the section where it goes down, I don't think I need to really worry about it. So I think if I come across any other ones that have these red lines, I'm going to worry about it a little bit less, especially if it's a darker kit. Now I do have a section up here that is basically going to be white, so I know I'm probably going to have to cover it up. But some of this, even where I can see it, where it's coming through, like down here on the face where it's coming through, when you stand back far enough, you really can't see it. So I'm kind of the opinion that these, at least for me, are not as big of a deal as I thought they were going to be. I just wanted to show you that before I get the whole thing finished. I will come back and show you what it looks like completed before I make any changes to kind of cover up the lines. And I'll show you what it looks like finished with just the way it is, with the drills covering it up, and we'll see how it looks. And then after that, I will make my changes and cover up whatever I need to cover up, and we'll see how it looks after that. So don't go anywhere. Okay guys, so it's finished, but I want to try and cover up some of these pink lines that are still showing behind some of these drills. There are some still behind the darker sections, but you really can't see them that much, so I'm really not going to worry about those. I was actually telling my husband some of these pinks that are in the kit are actually almost the same color as the pink lines, so I wish the pinks had been somewhere where the pink lines were, because then I wouldn't have had to worry about it. Some places they still show through. I don't know if you can still see here, like right here where this kind of light blue is, they show through a little bit there, so I might try and fix that. But of course, the biggest problem is up here at the top where I've got these pink lines. There's one going this way and one going this way. You probably can see a little bit here. I've already done 2 little sections. So what I did was buy an eyeshadow palette that had blues and purples and a white. And so all I'm doing is getting quite a bit of the paste, the eyeshadow. I actually think this would have been better with mica powder so I could sprinkle it, but I get it on the brush here, and then I have to dab enough that it gets kind of down in the cracks where it's going to stick to that glue and the white and cover up all that pink. And it's actually doing a decent job. You can still see it a little bit, but by the time I hang this up, put it on a wall somewhere, and you're looking at it from a distance, you would never even notice. So you can see I'm getting kind of big pieces because I kind of have to shove them down in there. This isn't like mica powder. Because it's eyeshadow, it's kind of meant to stay caked together. But you can see it is definitely making those lines less noticeable. You can still see them a little bit. And if I wanted to, I could probably go back in with even more and just cover it up some more. But I think it's doing a good enough job as is for what I'm concerned about. So I do think, again, that mica powder might have been better just because this eyeshadow is kind of made to stay kind of clumped together. So basically I'm having to pick up these clumps and then kind of force them down into between the drills. So the mica powder being fine and a powder, I think would have been easier, but it is working. So I'm happy with that. It's way less noticeable than it was, even if it's not perfect coverage. And again, by the time you hang this up and people are looking at it from a distance, nobody's going to be able to tell unless they put their nose on the glass that these lines are going to show. I told my husband as I was working on this kit, my thought was that honestly, the only part that bothered me was this white section up here because it was pretty noticeable, that hot kind of neon pink against the white. But for the rest of the kit, if this had been a darker kit where it was all the blues and everything, I probably wouldn't have bothered at all trying to cover it up. And you can see I'm trying to take these flakes here and kind of smush them in between where the white is. And I don't think it's going to hurt being on top of the drills. I'm kind of smoothing it over. I think it's going to just end up kind of looking like mica powder. So I'm not too concerned with like getting it all off or whatever. I just want to kind of tone down where all that hot pink is. And again, I can keep going over it as much as I want until I feel like I've gotten the coverage that I need. And this probably would have been easier with a paintbrush, but I couldn't find mine. I'm just doing it with the brush that they gave me here in the eyeshadow kit. And again, if this had been a square kit, don't think I would have bothered at all with doing any of this because I don't think any of it would have shown. So if you do get a kit that has this issue, by all means, return it if you want to. The reason I didn't return mine was because there's no guarantee I'm not going to get another kit if I got the replacement one, because I really wanted to do this particular kit that it wouldn't have the same issues. And you can still get a refund or points, I believe. I just decided to keep the kit and do it as content, but I don't think it's the end of the world if you get a kit like this. And there are other things that I could have tried. I could have done the paint pen method. I mean, that basically I would assume you cover it up with the paint pen before you even put the drills on, and the paint pen will help the drills stick. But I think that looks a ton better. Even though you can still see it faintly, I'm okay with that. It looks way better than it did. And again, like I said, I could keep going over it if I wanted to make sure that I'd gotten all the little pink lines hidden. But for me, it just isn't that important. So I'm going to try and fill in any white spots where it's like these light colored drills. So like here in the face where I can kind of see this one going over, these are yellow, but you can still kind of see it. But there are lines going through some of this that I'm not going to bother with because I can't see them and I'm looking for them. and especially through this really dark section. I might put some, I've got a blue that I might put in there as well. It's kind of a teal color, so I don't know how that's going to look. Oh, that actually works way better than the white because it just kind of blends in. I don't know if you can see that section right here. You can see the line right there. And I just take a little bit of this and kind of push it down in there, and it's working to hide that. So I do think that the eyeshadow is a good inexpensive option if that's something that you're looking for. But for my purposes, I do wish I'd gotten even just some white mica powder would have been better, I think, to just kind of work it in there and get it all covered up. But I think this is going to work well enough for what I want to get these covered up. And then, like I said, once you hang it, somebody's going to have their nose a centimeter from the canvas to be able to tell what you've covered up. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm going to put this white over here, even in the where some of the yellow is, just to see if that works. Just get it down in there. Oh yeah. So I'm going to finish up doing all of these, and then I will do another final go over with my camera so that you can see it and see what it looks like where I've covered up all the white, or the pink lines, I mean, with the white. Because like I said, it's going to make it look a little bit like mica powder, but it's definitely hiding those pink lines, which is amazing. I do think I would recommend the mica powder, but this is definitely working. So I'm going to fix, I may go over that top section with the white, and I may fix some of the ones over here with the blues, and then I will be back to show you the whole thing. Don't go anywhere. And here is the finished kit. So you can see, I'll do a B-roll so you can see where some of the lines were and things, but right here in the middle, there are some lines, but I decided not to cover them up because where it's this really dark color, you really can't see them anyway. So I was really happy about that. So if this had been a kit where I didn't really have any light colors at all, like I said, I wouldn't have worried about doing any of the fixes. And my fixes are not perfect by any means. Like I said, if I had to do this all over again, I probably would use the mica powder so I could sprinkle it rather than trying to force it down into the crevices with the eyeshadow like I was doing. But it probably is much cheaper to just buy a cheap eyeshadow palette than to buy a bunch of different colors of mica, so you do what makes sense to you. I wanted to do this mostly so that I could see if I end up having any other kits in my stash that have these red lines. Now I know I don't need to panic over it because I have several different ways that I can fix it. Like I said before, the paint pen is probably a good way to fix it before you even put down any drills. So if that's something that you would prefer, certainly do it that way. I think the mica powder worked better for me. You can still see some of the faint pink behind it, but it's not that bright kind of neon pink of the original lines. And once you frame this and hang it on a wall, people viewing it at a distance are never going to see the lines. In fact, after I put all my fixes on, I held this up for my husband, and even though he knew the lighter colors were going to show it, he couldn't see them anymore. Like I said, if you get up super close and you really look, like I can see right there, there's some pink behind there, but nobody's going to be that close looking at it if it's hanging on your wall, right? We notice because our noses are so close while we're actually drilling, but I honestly think it's not that big a deal. Someone asked why I didn't just send it back and get a replacement kit. I had several reasons for doing that, one of which was that I thought this would be good content for the channel. One was that I'm in Canada now, so if I returned it, then I probably have to pay return shipping, which is crazy. Then they have to pay to ship me a new one, and it just didn't seem worth the hassle. You can also contact them, I believe, and they will give you some kind of refund, or you can choose to get points in lieu of a refund. I could have done that. I just chose not to because it wasn't that big a deal to me. Like I said, I'm using this for content, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I feel like I said, if I come across any other kits that have this, I'm probably not going to freak out too much. I know what I can do to fix it. If this had been a larger kit and it had been a kit with a lot of light colors, like my little baker or something like that, then I probably would be a bit more concerned about it. But now knowing that my eyeshadow works okay, my mica powder would probably work even better, I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. But if you want to return it for a refund, again, as always, you do you, whatever makes the most sense to you. I really wanted to do this particular kit. I'd never done anything by Puffy Gator before, and I really liked this kit. So I wanted to complete it, even if it wasn't going to be perfect when it was done, and that's okay with me. And like I said, Because Diamond Art Club, the only way they know which kits have it would be to open every single one, and they're not going to do that. So they would just send me another one off the shelf, and it would be blind luck whether I got one that was free from the lines or I got another one that had the lines. So to me, it wasn't worth the time and expense and hassle of sending it all back to possibly get one that had the exact same issues. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I think this is a super cute kit. I love all the colors in it. I think the purples and the dark blues are really pretty. I love her cute little eyes. It had 3 ABs, like I said. So you've got in her whiskers some of this kind of red AB, and in her eyes there's a light purple AB that's up here for some of the highlights. And then there is a blue AB that's in the background. And I could have added more ABs in if I wanted to, but I decided not to do that because I wanted to complete this one as quickly as I could because I knew I wanted to address the red line thing. But I'm super happy with the way it turned out. I think she's beautiful. Yeah, super glad that I did it. Red lines aside. Now I know, like I said, that if I get another kit that has red lines like this, I don't need to panic, and I can decide on a case-by-case basis whether or not I want to do it like this and complete it, or if I want to try and exchange it depending on what the actual image is. And again, if this had been a square kit, I don't think it would have been any issue at all because the square kits would have completely covered up the back, so the lines would be completely covered up. I'm kind of secretly hoping that I get a square kit with the red lines just so I can test out that theory. So if you've gotten a kit with the red lines and it was square, did you go ahead and do it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. Did you go ahead and complete it? Did the squares cover up everything? Did you still have to go back and do some fixing to hide some of the red lines? I'm curious. Kind of tempted to open some of my older DACs and see that I ordered the same time as this that are square. I think somebody told me they had the same Disney one that I had that I ordered the same time as this one that had the red lines in it. So maybe I should open that one. Maybe that'll be one I do for our holiday diamond paint along in October. We'll see. Next up, I probably will be showing you guys the unboxing of the kit that I'm going to be doing for Drills and Chills because that's coming up pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.